Hare Krishna. Is anybody on the call? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Oh, it's so cold here in Chicago. Is it cold here?
Oh,
I bet it's colder in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's freezing here.
Oh, it's cold.
We had 6 inches of snow a couple days ago, and we're getting more snow.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's time.
Hard to handle all that cold. You know?
Yeah.
I never did like it. Is it who's giving class today? Do you know, Mataji?
Prabala.
Prabala Madhuri.
Prabala Madhuri. Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabala Madhuri. Please accept mine too. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
How are you, Mataji? Your voice is
different.
Were you speaking to me, Prabala Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Your voice sounds different.
Better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, tis the season.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh boy, it's so cold. But we get through these winters year after year, so yeah. I guess they're tolerable on some level. We can tolerate anything with Krishna's help. So that's the goal.
Mataji?
Are you speaking to Manasi Ganga, Mataji?
Yeah, I'm just asking how she is. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm getting myself something hot to drink because it's so cold. I just drove in. What did you say?
No, I was just asking how are you doing, Mataji?
Oh, I'm doing fine, thank you. And yourself?
I'm good, Mataji. Yeah, I was hearing some kitchen sounds. I was thinking one of you might be preparing something.
Yeah, I've got some herbal tea here. So, Mataji, do you know much about the Christmas program?
I know only that it is starting from 21st, Mataji, 21st to 25th.
To the 23rd or 25th?
25th.
25th.
Yeah,
and
5-day retreat this time.
Yeah, and the topic is prayer. Is that it?
Yeah. Yes, Mataji.
Nice. And are they expecting a lot of people? Because I'm hoping to come, and I don't know if I need to set up accommodations or if I just
maybe
come.
You can talk to Sundari Radha. You know Shweta, Preeti Mataji's last daughter.
Sweta. Which one is Sweta? Oh, the youngest daughter. Okay.
Yeah, she's the one who is coordinating, Mataji.
I don't have her phone number or email.
I'll text you.
You'll text it? Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. And do you know if there's a cost or anything or no?
Yes, Mataji, it is $60 for the program.
60 for the whole weekend? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
I'm excited. When I was in Mayapur, what's the name of that Prabhu? Is it Dhruva? What's his name?
Prabhu? Dravida?
Yeah, he was there. And he used to always, he recites poetry. He writes poetry and recites it.
Yeah.
I remember every day he would do that while I was there. Now, where does he live? Do you know?
I think in San Diego, Mataji.
San Diego? You said?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a Californian.
Yeah, California.
Nice.
Yeah, he's coming for the retreat.
Yeah, right. So I guess he'll give some of the classes because he gives good classes, really good classes.
Yeah, he gives some classes, and mostly there will be like shloka recitation with him, like in the poetic way and all those things.
Yeah, the poetic way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Nice.
Okay, should I start the prayers? I don't know who else is on call except you, me, and more than Nila Mataji.
Yeah, if you think so. What time is it? Yes, 5:05.
5, yeah.
Good idea.
Hear any sound also, like any beep sound. So. Okay, Mataji, so I'll start with the prayers, and we'll see if any other devotees can join in the meanwhile.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Shali this side. I have joined the call.
So, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Me too,
Mataji. Hare Krishna. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Oh my God. Don't make me tense, Mataji.
No. You'll be fine, Mataji. I'm encouraging you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll start with the prayer. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnanandana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kృపాసింధుభ్య eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sridhasati Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naisati. Today we are reading from Canto 2, Chapter 9, verses 43 and 44. The title of the chapter is Answers by Citing the Lord's Version. Text 43. Tushtam nishamya pitaram lokanam prapitamaham devarshi paripapracha bhavanyan manuprachati. Translation. The great sage Narada also inquired in detail from his father Brahma, the great grandfather of all the universe, after seeing him well satisfied. The process of understanding spiritual or transcendental knowledge from the realized person is not exactly like asking an ordinary question from the schoolmaster. The schoolmasters in the modern days are paid agents for giving some information, but the spiritual master is not a paid agent, nor can he impart instruction without being authorized. In the Bhagavad Gita 4:34, the process of understanding transcendental knowledge is directed as follows. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnanina sattvadarshinaha. Arjuna was advised to receive transcendental knowledge from the realized person by surrender, questions, and service. Receiving transcendental knowledge is not like exchanging dollars. Such knowledge has to be received by the service to the spiritual master. As Brahmaji receives the knowledge directly from the Lord by satisfying him fully, similarly, one has to receive the transcendental knowledge from the spiritual master by satisfying him. The spiritual master's satisfaction is the means of assimilating transcendental knowledge. One cannot understand transcendental knowledge simply by becoming a grammarian. The Vedas declare, Yastadeve para bhaktir yata devi tatha guru gurau tasyaite kahita hi attha prakashante mahatmanah. Only unto One who has unflinching devotion to the Lord and to the spiritual master, does transcendental knowledge become automatically revealed. Shvetashvara Upanishad 6.23. Such relationship between the disciple and the spiritual master is eternal. One who is now the disciple is the next spiritual master, and one cannot be a bona fide and authorized spiritual master unless one has been strictly obedient to his spiritual master. Brahmaji, as a disciple of the Supreme Lord, received the real knowledge and imparted it to his dear disciple Narada. And similarly, Narada, as spiritual master, handed over this knowledge to Vyasa, and so on. Therefore, the so-called formal spiritual master and disciple are not facsimiles of Brahma and Narada or Narada and Vyasa. The relationship between Brahma and Narada is reality, while the so-called formality is the relationship between the cheater and cheated. It is clearly mentioned herewith that Narada is not only one second, Master. It is clearly mentioned herewith that Narada is not only well behaved, meek and obedient, but also self-controlled. One who is not self-controlled, specifically in sex life, can become neither a disciple nor a spiritual master. One must have disciplinary training in controlling speaking, anger, the tongue, the mind, the belly, and the genitals. One who has controlled the particular senses mentioned above is called a Goswami. Without becoming a Goswami, one can become neither a disciple nor a spiritual master. The so-called spiritual master without sense control is certainly the cheater, and the disciple of such a so-called spiritual master is the cheated. One should not think of Brahmaji as a dead great grandfather, as we have experience on this planet. He is the oldest great grandfather, and he is still living, and Narada is also still living. The age of the inhabitants of the Brahmaloka planet is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. The inhabitants of this small planet Earth can hardly calculate even the duration of one day of Brahma. So, I'm reading the translation again. The great sage Narada also inquired in detail from his father Brahma, the great grandfather of all the universe, after seeing him well satisfied. In the purport, Prabhupada is clearly mentioning the relationship between the disciple and the guru, like how the relationship between a guru and disciple should be. So in the first paragraph, Prabhupada is saying that the process of understanding spiritual or transcendental knowledge from the realized person is not exactly like asking an ordinary question from the schoolmaster. So he is comparing the relationship between the guru and disciple in the olden days, like in the Vedic days, and now, like in the present age. Like it is not like asking a question in the school, like to the teacher, like how we ask questions when we were studying in the school. It is not like that. In this modern age, the school teachers or school masters are like working for money, so they'll be paid. They'll be paid for what they are teaching, but it is not the concept in the Vedic age. So in the Vedic age, like the disciple and the guru relationship is like there won't be like any money dealings between the guru and disciple, first point, and the disciple actually used to serve his spiritual master, like he used to serve his guru, and when the guru is pleased with the disciple, then only he will impart the knowledge, transcendental knowledge. So he used to bring something from his home and offer it to his guru, and if he doesn't have anything at his home to offer to his guru, he used to go and beg alms for his guru and then bring that and then give it to his spiritual master. So by doing like that, he like the by serving like that, when the guru is pleased, then the guru gives the transcendental knowledge to his disciple. And Prabhupada is quoting the Bhagavad Gita verse 434, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshanaha. So in this verse, the three main points are mentioned here. Like one should be like one should surrender to the spiritual master. He should ask like right questions to the spiritual master, and then through service he should like inquire and get the knowledge from the spiritual master. So these are the three main things that a disciple should do in order to get the transcendental knowledge. And Prabhupada is clearly mentioning here that receiving transcendental knowledge is not like exchanging dollars. Okay, I'll give you some money and then you give me some knowledge, or I'll give you this and you give me that. It is not like that business kind of thing between the guru and disciple. It is like through service. The main concept to please the spiritual master is through service. Only through service we can like please the spiritual master. That was the system in that Vedic age. Unfortunately, now it has like totally changed. Like we have to pay so much money to get the knowledge, and that too the mundane knowledge, not even like the spiritual knowledge from the teachers. Such knowledge has to be received by the spiritual. So here Brahmaji also received the transcendental knowledge directly from the Supreme Lord. Only when the Supreme Lord is so satisfied with all the austerities that Brahma performed, he came only once he is satisfied by seeing the austerities of Brahma. And then he gave the transcendental knowledge to Brahma. And I was hearing to the lecture, and in this lecture, Maharaj was mentioning that the Krishna consciousness or Vedic way is not secular. So nowadays, like especially Maharaj was mentioning the point that in US there is like here it is actually law that we should not mix church and state. Like Maharaj was explaining that in schools there is no mention of religion or anything. Looks like it is like against the law if the teachers talk about something about the God or anything in the school. So they have their own private religious schools, meaning the churches or mosques, where the people will go and then read about God and then just come out of the church, and then that's all. They just leave the God there, and then they are into their own business in the outside world. But in the Vedic system, it is not like that, actually. The second paragraph, Prabhupada is explaining that the spiritual master satisfaction is the means of accumulating transcendental knowledge. One cannot understand transcendental knowledge simply by becoming a grammarian. So, like nowadays we have like so many scholars who are like very well educated, and then they are like very perfect in Sanskrit and all those things, but they do not know the real spiritual or transcendental knowledge. They may pose like that they are like very well educated and they know so much of Sanskrit, and they quote different meanings for one word in Sanskrit, and they made that word jugglery. But they really don't understand the essence of the even like Bhagavad Gita. There are like so many Bhagavad Gitas where we see like different translations or meanings given in the Bhagavad Gita. And so many people are unfortunately attracted to that word jugglery because like they see the way how they speak and how they give like big Sanskrit narrations or Sanskrit slokas, and then the poetic way of reciting all those verses and all those things, and they get attracted to that, and then they think that that is the thing, and there is like they attracted to those people who talk like that. in the core they don't understand the real knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. So many people are like in this modern world nowadays, like many people are cheating the like cheating other people with their word jaggery or with their so-called knowledge. And Prabhupada is giving another verse from Shvetashvara Upanishad, Yasadeve Parabhaktir Yathateve Tata Guru, Tasyate Kahitahi Atta Sakshante Mahatmana. Only unto one who has unflinching devotion to the Lord and to the spiritual master does transcendental knowledge becomes automatically revealed. So Prabhupada is saying, in this verse it is saying that one who has unflinching faith and devotion towards the Lord and spiritual master, only they can get the transcendental knowledge. Only they will receive the transcendental knowledge. And such relationship between disciple and spiritual master is eternal actually. Now when we talk in our own life, like we have studied so much, and now I don't even remember my school teacher's name when I was in second grade or first grade. I don't know where he or she is now. So it's like not the eternal relationship between the guru and disciple, but in the Vedic days, it is not like that actually. In those days, the relationship between the disciple and the spiritual master is eternal, because the bond they both have is like, as I said, like the spiritual master is very pleased with the service of the devotee, and then he imparts the knowledge unto him. So that relationship is eternal. We cannot see such kind of relationship in this age actually. And one cannot be a bona fide and authorized spiritual master unless one has been strictly obedient to the spiritual master. So Prabhupada is saying that we have to be like very, very obedient. Unless and until then, we cannot become a spiritual master. And Brahmaji, as a disciple of the Supreme Lord, received the real knowledge and imparted it to his dear disciple Narada. And similarly, Narada, as a spiritual master, handed over his knowledge to Vyasa and so on. So this is ours is like descending knowledge. So the knowledge directly came from Lord Krishna to Brahma, and then Brahma gave this transcendental knowledge to Narada, and Narada gave this knowledge to Vyasa, and Vyasa gave this to his son, and like that is like going on. Therefore, the so-called former spiritual master and disciple are not facsimiles of Brahma and Narada or Narada and Vyasa. So again, Prabhupada is saying that the relationship between the spiritual master and the disciple, we should not compare it to like Brahma and Narada relationship or Narada and Vyasa relationship. That is like beyond actually our experience, like the relationship between like now the school teacher and the student. If someone is comparing the relationship with Brahma and Narada, it is simply a foolish thing to do. So the relationship between Brahma and Narada is reality, while the so-called formality is the relationship between the cheater and cheated. So as I said, like if someone is saying like that, and as the example like where I mentioned like the so-called people who are like very well educated and very much knowledge in Sanskrit or anything, they are simply cheating the people. And these people are also foolishly getting cheated by those cheaters actually. They don't ask, or they don't even inquire properly, and then they just follow them just by seeing their outward, what do I say, magical words or something, and then they just follow them, and then they treat them as their own spiritual masters. They don't even understand the real meaning of the spiritual master, and they just follow them as spiritual masters, and then they give like so much of money and all those things to them. And Prabhupada is mentioning clearly in this paragraph that one who is not self-controlled, specifically in sex life, can become neither a disciple nor a spiritual master. So one must have disciplinary training in controlling speaking, anger, the tongue, the mind, the belly, and the genitals. So this is the first verse and nectar of instruction that we all know, Vacho Vedam and Sarko the Vedam. So it is like really, really important to have control on our senses, especially in the sixth life. Otherwise, one can never become a spiritual master nor a disciple. That's why Srila Prabhupada gave us the four regulative principles. One of them is like no illicit sex. One of the four regulative principles is no illicit sex. So also these four urges, actually speaking, anger, eating, the mind, the belly, and the genitals, all these things are like really, really hard to control. I mean, I'm speaking of myself, and I cannot control my eating things. So that is like the simple. I don't say it is simple, but it is really hard to control these urges actually. But Prabhupada is saying one who has controlled these particular senses is called a Goswami. He's like Goswami is like master of senses. And without becoming a Goswami, one can become neither a disciple nor a spiritual master. So one has to have control on all these things, on all these urges. Otherwise, he cannot become a spiritual master. Or at the same time, the disciple also should control all these urges. It's not only the spiritual master who has to control his urges and then he will become the spiritual master. It is like both vice versa. Even the disciple has to have the control on these six urges. Otherwise, he cannot become a proper disciple to the spiritual master. Here also Narada is like Prabhupada is mentioning here, Narada is not only well behaved, meek and obedient, but also self-controlled. So he is like standing as an example for all of us. Like, so we have to become, I mean, like the ideal thing is like we should set an example so that the others can follow. Like how Srila Prabhupada is a role model or an ideal for all of us. Like he has set an example, and all the spiritual masters, meaning all the disciples of this Srila Prabhupada, who are now the spiritual masters, we are seeing them, and there is like a lot more to learn from all of them. They're like certain exemplary figures for all of us. So like that, we should also try to become like them, and then become like them, meaning not like imitating them or anything. Like try to grab some nice qualities from them and then set an example to our like next generation. That should be our like main motive or anything. I mean, that should be our like main motive, like to learn from the superiors and then pass it to the juniors and to set an example. The so-called spiritual master without sense control is certainly the cheater, and the disciple of such so-called spiritual master is the cheated. So Prabhupada is clearly saying that the spiritual master without sense control is a cheater, and at the same time the disciple without self-control is a cheated. So this guru-disciple thing is mentioned not only in this place but also in the other places also. Prabhupada has specifically mentioned, because this is like such an important thing that we all should know actually, the relationship between the guru and disciple. It's not like, okay, I have chosen so and so as my guru, and then it's not like a show of business actually. Having a guru, nowadays it's becoming fashion in the outer world, but the real essence of having a guru and being a disciple is like very, very to be, as it is mentioned here, it is like very, very rare opportunity to get a guru, like who is coming from the Republic succession actually. So okay, going to the last paragraph, one should not think that Brahmaji has a dead great-grandfather, as we have experience on this planet. He is the oldest great-grandfather and he is still living, and Narada is also living. The age of the inhabitants of Brahmaloka planet is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. The inhabitants of this small planet Earth can hardly calculate even the duration of one day of Brahma. So we should not think that, I don't know, this Maharaj didn't explain much about this last paragraph. It is maybe I don't know, like maybe we should not think, I don't know how to even explain this. One should not think of Brahmaji as a dead great-grandfather, as we have experience on this planet. He is the oldest great-grandfather and he is still living, and Narada is also living. The age of inhabitants of the Brahmaloka planet This is the age of Brahmaloka planet is explained in Bhagavad Gita. So it is explained in 8:17. Bhagavad Gita 8:17, the age of Brahmaloka planet is explained. I'll just read 8:17 for the first few lines. The duration of material universe is limited. It is manifested in cycles of kalpas. A kalpa is a day of Brahma, and one day of Brahma consists of 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas or ages: Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. So, also yesterday, Leela Manjari Mataji, yesterday or day before yesterday, Leela Manjari Mataji was also explaining the age of Brahma, one day and one night of Brahma. So, actually, I noted so many points. I think let me see if I missed some points. Yeah, Maharaj was explaining about the 26 qualities of a devotee actually. Oh, he was in this Grammarly thing. Where is this one? Yeah. One cannot understand transcendental knowledge simply by becoming a grammarian. In this point, Maharaj was explaining about Rupa Goswami actually. Devotees are like so gifted, like Rupa Goswami is like very actually a knowledgeable person, and he explains everything in a poetic way. So in that sense, Maharaj was explaining that 26 qualities of a devotee, and one of the 26 qualities is like poetic. A devotee is like a poet. And also Maharaj was explaining that Krishna decorates his devotees with all these qualities when he sees that when he sees that a devotee is trying to please him, he automatically decorates the devotee with all these 26 qualities. The main and first quality that the devotee needs to have is like he always feels that Krishna Eka Sharanam, meaning like when he tries to serve Krishna and keep all other things aside, and when Krishna is pleased, he automatically decorates the devotee with such a nice qualities. So all the previous acharyas, whoever we know, like they're all like very very actually some of them are like very well educated, and then like if we see the examples, like there is like lot to learn from them actually. They're, even though when like they are so highly educated and wealthy people, like example Maharaj was giving is like about Sanatan Goswami. He is the richest person, and but he left everything, and then he was like roaming in Vrindavan, like staying under the trees, and he never behaved in a way that he's like very rich person or anything. He doesn't have that attitude at all. So Sanatan Goswami is like, he, as I said, like he left everything, whatever he has, and then he was just going all over Vrindavan, and then he was like the main motive for him is to please Krishna. That's all, nothing else. So by seeing all of them and by studying about them, there is like lot for us to learn and practice, and like there is like lot learn and to practice for us actually. So I don't know, I'm mixing here and there all the points. I'm not coming in the order as usual, I believe. So I think that's all, Mataji, from this verse at least I have. If you have anything to share, please share or add or correct me if I said something wrong. you have something to ask, please go ahead, Mataji. I'm sure Leela Mandri Mataji or Premarasa Mataji will answer your question. It's not me.
No, Prabala Mataji will answer.
Mataji, I said,
Hare Krishna. Does everybody else have the experience of it being very...
Yes, Mataji, we had it.
Krishna speaking.
There was a song on your phone.
Oh,
actually,
I have a question.
Oh, yes,
Go
Mataji,
on.
please. No. I was about to say that I never say in the class to ask questions. The only hope I have now is like Leela Mandri Mataji. Since she's there, I said like go ahead and ask any question. Yes, Mataji, please. You are asking something.
Okay, so today I was reading something from Chaitanya Charitamrita. It says, it's in a purport, and it says, between the two creations, the material creation and the spiritual creation, is the river known as Viraja, as well as the place known as Brahmaloka. So we are talking about Brahmaloka. Viraja, Nadi, and Brahmaloka are shelters for the living entities disgusted with material life and inclined to impersonal existence by way of denying material variegatedness. Since these places are not situated in the Vaikuntha Lokas, or the spiritual world, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proclaims them to be external. In Brahmaloka and Viraj, no one can conceive of the Vaikuntha Lokas. Brahmaloka and Viraj Nadi are also attained after difficult austerities, but in these realms, this is what I don't understand, but in these realms there is no understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his transcendental loving service. So I thought that Brahma, all the different posts, I thought that they were very high devotees of the Lord, in that they're doing all this, the creating. That's a big service to the Lord. And so it says, but in these realms, there's no understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his transcendental loving service. So is that what that's saying? Is it saying that there's no understanding, like virtually no understanding? Or is it more like the mood is not like in Goloka Vrindavan? It's more of awe and reverence. I just don't understand what is, I can read it without such spiritual knowledge. Simple detachment from material conditions is but another side of material existence. So I just, maybe someone can comment. I thought that Brahma was a great devotee of the Lord, not necessarily just the original Brahma, but, of each universe. And it just didn't make sense to me in that purport. Does anybody want to comment?
Okay, now I definitely don't know. So Prabala Madhuri has to answer.
Mataji, come on. I don't know, Mataji, what exactly the meaning of that is, like not understanding. I don't know.
Supreme Personality and his transcendental living service.
Mataji, which verse is this?
This is 864. And the translation says, after hearing Ramananda, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again rejected his statement and said, go ahead and say something more.
Where is it? I still cannot find it. I'm sorry.
Madhya 864.
Madhya Leela, okay.
What is the question, Mataji? I couldn't understand. I mean,
I was just, I thought Brahma, even, the ones that are taking the post, not the original Brahma, I thought Brahma was a great devotee of the Lord. And yet it's saying that in Brahmaloka and in Viraj, the river Viraj, that, yes, they attain these positions after difficult austerities. We know that. But it says in these realms, there's no understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His transcendental loving service. So I'm just wondering if what Prabhupada was meaning there was in the mood of Raj, or if he's like saying that it just doesn't make sense to me, because I thought Brahma was a great devotee of the Lord.
so it's saying that in these realms there is no devotion to the Lord, or like no.
That's what I'm wondering. It says specifically, but in these realms, and it's talking about Brahmaloka and Viraj, there's no understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His transcendental loving service. So I'm just wondering if that just means that, like, it's more in the mood of on reverence, if that's what they're asking, or if it's
maybe. I mean, I'm not sure, but I'm just thinking maybe, like, maybe I don't know Leela Manjari Mataji might say about what the scriptures say, but maybe that he is doing indirect service, like, because the whole world or the creation was created by Brahmaji on the instructions of Vishnu, Vishnuji. So like on the instructions, the whole world was created. So maybe he is like managing the whole creation or creating the whole realm, but he is not afraid that he is that he is doing it as a service to the Lord, because there are different aspects of Brahmaji where he might have forgotten that he has actually done it as a service, and he is like just doing his duty, but indirectly he knows, but like directly he might have not remembered that he is doing it as a service to the Lord. That is what my understanding is.
And then what you were saying is making me think now, because when, like, maybe it's saying that, maybe Brahma is responding to a Vishnu form. Like, is the relationship between Brahma and the Absolute Truth more of Vishnu and Brahma? Maybe that's it, and that Krishna is not really, he's not, like, I don't know how their conversations are. Is the conversations that Brahma has with the Absolute Truth, is it more Vishnu that he's like, that his relationship is with, rather than Shri Krishna? I don't know. So is that kind of what you were saying? I was trying to understand what you were saying.
Yeah, exactly. That he is doing it as a service to Vishnu, but he does not explicitly. Yeah, but he does not explicitly understand that in those terms, that I am doing this service for him and as a loving devotion to him, but he's just doing the service, and he is like creating the world, and he's doing his duty, but really not with the consciousness of remembering, like, that he's doing it for Krishna and for that
Krishna is actually the source of Vishnu.
Right.
So it'd be interesting to find out if the conversations are between Vishnu and Brahma, rather than maybe somebody knows that, to kind of like give this idea some substance. Or is it Brahma has direct relationship with Krishna? But I thought that there's isn't there a pastime where Brahma and Lord Krishna with the calves and the cowherd boys So I think that there is relationship between Krishna and Lord Brahma. I don't know.
Mataji, I'm just making a comment. You can, I don't know very clearly, but I'm just sharing my thoughts after reading the report. To my understanding, it feels that Prabhupada is emphasizing on the point that there is the river Viraja, and on one side of that river is the spiritual world, and one side of that river is material world. So he's actually emphasizing on the point that Brahmaloka is still part of the material world, and it's not, because many people, they think that Brahmaloka is like the topmost planet. People might be actually thinking of going to that planet. That could be their goal. But Prabhupada, and this is basically saying that it's not part of the spiritual world, or it's not part of the Vaikuntha Loka. So he's actually saying that Brahma, because it's not part of the spiritual world, people there are still not aware of what is pure devotional service. When he says they cannot conceive of the Vaikuntha Lokas, so basically Vaikuntha Lokas or Krishna Loka, they have that intimate service of the Lord, which is missing in Brahmaloka. So that's how I'm actually understanding. When he says that, yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mataji. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's what I'm understanding. No understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His transcendental loving service means pure devotional service, where they're having a personal relationship with the Lord and they're actually serving the Lord as His intimate associates. That's not there in Brahmaloka.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and so that was kind of what I was thinking as well. But it's kind of interesting that I hear that in Goloka, they do not have a conception of the material world. And then does it say that here that they don't really have a conception of the spiritual world? Somewhere it said something like that. But anyway, thank you. It's kind of weird, like on one side of the river and the other side of the river. But So anyway, thank you. That makes sense to me.
Thank you, Mataji.
I'm sorry to
Prabala Madhuri, thank you for a very, very nice class. I liked it a lot.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, I was appreciating many of the points that you were making, like in the previous days, the Guru was not taking any money, and these days you were mentioning that although we give them so much money, still they're not teaching us what is the actual goal of life. So, it's so true. Even the other day we were talking to my husband's brother, and he was mentioning how he has to pay, I think, 5 or 6 lakhs of rupees to their school annually for their children. And still, what is the benefit of learning all those different subjects when we do not know what's the actual goal of life? So it's a very, very important point, that where is the civilization actually heading? Because all the children make the future of the nation. And if they don't know, or if we are not teaching them what is the most valuable subject, then for sure we know where the civilization is heading. So thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing and clarifying Auntie Ganga Mataji's doubts.
Mataji, I feel you should give more classes.
Who?
You should give more classes, Mataji.
More classes. Okay, should I move on to 44?
Yes.
Okay. It's 44. Tasma idam bhagavatam puranam dashalakshanam proktam bhagavata praha prita putraya bhutakrit Translation. Thereupon, the supplementary Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, which was described by the personality of Godhead and which contains 10 characteristics, was told with satisfaction by the father Brahma to his son Narada. Although the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken in 4 verses, it had 10 characteristics, which will be explained in the next chapter. In the 4 verses, it is first said that the Lord existed before the creation, and thus the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam includes the Vedanta aphorism Janmadi Asya. Janmadi Asya is the beginning. Yet, the 4 verses in which it is said that the Lord is the root of everything that be, beginning from the creation up to the supreme abode of the Lord, naturally explain the 10 characteristics. One should not misunderstand by wrong interpretations that the Lord spoke only 4 verses and that therefore all the rest of the 17,996 verses are useless. The 10 characteristics, as will be explained in the next chapter, require so many verses just to explain them properly. Brahmaji had also advised Narada previously that he should expand the idea he had heard from Brahmaji. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed this to Srila Rupa Goswami in a nutshell, but the disciple Rupa Goswami expanded this very elaborately. And the same subject was further expanded by Jiva Goswami and even further expanded by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. We are just trying to follow in the footsteps of all those authorities. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is not like an ordinary fiction or mundane literature. It is unlimited in strength, and however one may expand it according to one's own ability, Bhagavatam still cannot be finished by such expansion. Srimad Bhagavatam, being the sound representation of the Lord, is simultaneously explained in 4 verses and in 4 billion verses all the same, in as much as the Lord is smaller than the atom and bigger than the unlimited sky. Such is the potency of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm just opening the 10 characteristics that is mentioned here, Martin. So, okay. So, I'll just read the translation one more time. Thereupon, the supplementary Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, which was described by the personality of Godhead and which contains 10 characteristics, was told with satisfaction by the father Brahma to his son Narada. So in the purport, Prabhupada is saying that although the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken in 4 verses, it had 10 characteristics which will be explained in the next chapter. So I was a little curious when I was reading this and I just wanted to know what the 10 characteristics are. So I just moved on to the next chapter, and in the first verse, Srila Sukadeva Goswami is saying that in Srimad Bhagavatam there are 10 divisions of statements regarding the following. So the creation of the universe, subcreation, planetary systems, protection by the Lord, the creative impetus, the change of Manus, the science of God, returning home, back to Godhead, liberation, and the summum bonum. So these are the 10 divisions that is mentioned in this verse. So we all know that like how Bhagavad Gita has that 4 important verses in chapter 10. So Srimad Bhagavatam has the 4 verses in this chapter, like the earlier verses, like we read. So, like those 4 verses are spoken by Lord Himself. Then one may say, like, what is the use of the other remaining verses, 17,994 verses, when the essence of whole Bhagavatam is in those 4 verses? So, to understand those 4 verses and to the remaining 17,996 verses are also like very important actually. It is not like we'll just read those 4 verses and we'll get to know the full essence of Bhagavatam. So, like Maharaj was just giving the example, like when even like when some sannyasis come to our temple, some of us has a habit of writing notes, like when a lecture is given. So we make some bullet points actually. So, like when we study those bullet points, it is not like, like those bullet points are like essential or maybe the crucial points of the lecture. And at the same time, we cannot say that the whole lecture is like not important or only these bullet points are important. So these bullet points help us to understand the whole lecture given like by any of the sannyasis whenever they come to our temple. So like that, these 4 verses are like the real essence of Bhagavatam is spoken in 4 verses, and at the same time we have to understand the remaining verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We cannot say that they are like just useless verses, and because the 4 verses are spoken by Lord Krishna, those are the only important verses and the rest is not. We should not come to that conclusion, or we should not understand it like that. And the 10 characteristics, as will be explained in the next chapter, require so many verses just to explain them properly. So in order for us to understand the essence of Bhagavatam, or here I've explained the 10 characteristics of Bhagavatam, all these verses are supporting it, and then we will be able to understand the 10 characteristics of Bhagavatam through the help of these remaining verses. So Brahmaji had also advised Narada previously that he should expand the idea he had heard from Brahma. So, like, and also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa Goswami. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he instructed Rupa Goswami, he did not like elaborately expanded everything and then instructed Rupa Goswami. He said, like, Rupa Goswami being such a great scholar and a nice disciple of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took the essence from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then he expanded it actually. The Rupa Goswami expanded it. Through his realization, through his understanding from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he elaborately expanded it. And then Prabhupada is giving like another example of Jiva Goswami. Jiva Goswami further expanded what Rupa Goswami has said. And then Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also further expanded. Like we can take even the example of Prabhupada. Like if Prabhupada wouldn't have expanded through his purpose, we can never understanding the Bhagavatam or any of the scriptures just by reading the verse or just by reading the Sanskrit verses. We cannot understand them. So Prabhupada has kindly took his time and then he explained all the meanings and he gave nice purports of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we were able to read this, and then by hearing from our spiritual masters and from Srila Prabhupada, we were able to somehow understand the literature Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is unlimited. So Prabhupada is saying that Srimad Bhagavatam is unlimited in strength. However, one may expand it according to one's own ability. Bhagavatam still cannot be finished by such expansion. So he is saying that there is like much more to understand from Bhagavatam. So it is not like it is like never ending topic, we can say, like. So Srimad Bhagavatam, being the sound representation of the Lord, is simultaneously explained in 4 verses and in 4 billion verses, all the same. So I was like wondering how come this 4 billion verses, where from this 4 billion verses came from. And then Maharaj was explaining that in the heavenly planets, Srimad Bhagavatam is 4 billion verses. Srimad Bhagavatam has 4 billion verses, it seems. We have 18,000 verses, and in heavenly planets, Srimad Bhagavatam has 4 billion verses. So where from this 4 billion verses came is when Sukadeva Goswami was narrating to Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj had so many questions. He used to stop Sukadeva Goswami and he used to ask him like so many questions. So all those questions put together, it came to 4 billion verses, it seems. So that is how Maharaj was explaining about this 4 billion verses, the figure 4 billion verses. And in the last time, Prabhupada is explaining that the Lord is smaller than the atom. Srimad Bhagavatam, being the sound representation of the Lord, is simultaneously explained in 4 verses and in 4 billion verses is all the same. In as much as the Lord is smaller than the atom and bigger than the unlimited sky. So we all know that the Lord can become like even like he is smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest, like he is like bigger than unlimited sky. Such is the potency of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is also similarly like that because it is the sound representation of the Lord. So that's all, Mataji, from this verse that I have to share. Any comments?
Nice points, Prabala Madhuri Mataji. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. It was a really nice.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you very much, Prabala Mataji. Very beautiful.
Thank you, Mataji. Your class was just very, very informative and so nicely spoken. You just make a lot of sense when you give class. Can I just ask if the Gita, what are those 4 verses that
in the Bhagavad Gita,
that we all should know
10,
that I don't know?
Yeah, it's chapter 10, text 8, 9, 10, 11, Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, from which verse were you sharing those 10 points, like the 10 subjects, or I don't know what?
Oh, next chapter, Mataji.
Oh, Mataji, can you share those 10 things with us?
Yeah, sure. It's coming up like very, maybe from Monday, not Monday, maybe from Tuesday onwards, I think we'll go to chapter 10. I mean, enter to chapter 10, and it is the first verse of 10th chapter.
Oh, first verse, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Mataji. I thought you took from different verses and you put them together. So I was
No, Mataji.
thinking you can
Prabhupada has mentioned here that it is said in the next chapter. So I just went and looked at the next chapter and it was the first verse only.
Okay. Okay, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Oh.
Very nice class for both the verses.
Thank you all, Mataji, for always supporting me and encouraging me.
Mataji, it is a record-breaking time of 6:03
I know.
by the time we finish class.
That is what I was also looking at. Manasi Ganga Mataji helped me to go. I think this long. She had some questions.
Manasi Ganga Mataji, I could not understand the question. Honestly, could you repeat the verse from where, like, were you speaking about the verse that we are reading, or like where was the question from?
Chaitanya Charitamrita, Avilila.
She was, Madhya, yeah. So she was talking about Brahmaloka. And today during lunch, I was reading something in 864, I think, Madhya Lila, that was talking about Brahmaloka. So my question was just with regards to that. The question was that, it said that in Brahmaloka they have no understanding of the Supreme Lord nor his nor devotional service. We kind of are surmising that maybe that Prabhupada was just saying that I don't know, Mataji, can you repeat that? That it's pure devotional service that, you know, that is not happening in Brahmaloka, and therefore that's what Srila Prabhupada was making reference to. Not that there's no understanding of the Lord or, you know, just service to him. It's, I guess, pure devotional service.
Okay, Madhuri, I have the purport in front of me. I don't know if we have the time to go over it now. Everyone okay? Or
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
save it for
They
later?
can hang up if they want to. So no, I don't have that.
Okay, Madhuri, here is the verse. Okay. It says, after hearing Ramananda Roy speak in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again rejected his statement by saying, go ahead and say something more. Purport. Ramananda Rai, no, this is part of the translation, I believe.
Yeah.
Ramananda Rai then replied, devotional service mixed with empiric knowledge is the essence of perfection. Then the purport. Devotional service mixed with non-Vedic speculative knowledge is certainly not pure devotional service. Therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in his Anubhasya preaches that self-realization following the execution of ritualistic ceremonies is in the neutral stage between liberation and conditioned life. It is a place beyond this material world in the river Viraja where the three modes of material nature are subdued or neutralized in the unmanifested state. However, the spiritual world is a manifestation of spiritual energy and is known as Vaikuntha Loka, the place where there is no anxiety. The material world known as Brahmanda is the creation of the external energy. Between the two creations, the material creation and the spiritual creation, is a river known as Viraja, as well as a place known as Brahmaloka. Viraja Nadi and Brahmaloka are shelters for living entities disgusted with material life and inclined to impersonal existence by the way of denying material variegatedness. Since these places are not situated in the Vaikuntha Lokas of the spiritual world, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proclaims them to be external. In the Brahmaloka and Viraja Nadi, one cannot conceive of the Vaikuntha Lokas. Brahmaloka and Viraja Nadi are also attained after difficult austerities. But in these realms, there is no understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His transcendental loving service. Without such spiritual knowledge, simple detachment from material conditions is but another side effect of material existence. From the spiritual point of view, it is all external. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected this proposal, Ramananda Rai suggested that devotional service based on philosophy and logic is a more advanced position. He therefore quoted the following verse from the Bhagavad Gita. So, Mataji, I think what Premarasa was saying was shared was close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because actually between the material world and the spiritual world, there is a Viraja river. So actually that is the place, if you look at some of the posters, it's actually the place where there is only Brahmajyoti. So in the Brahmajyoti, the effect of the three modes of material nature does not exist. That means we are beyond the harassment of the three modes of material nature, but still it is not part of the spiritual world.
Mm.
But then again, there is another tricky thing. When we speak about Brahmaloka, there are different Brahmas who take the post from time to time.
Right.
So depending on if Brahma is a pure devotee of the Lord, actually, do you remember Govardhan Hila Mataji once gave a class long time ago, and she was telling that if Lord Brahma, he is a pure devotee, the entire Brahmaloka, everybody in the Brahmaloka after annihilation is completely transferred to the spiritual world.
Okay, maybe I wasn't there, or I don't remember.
It was a long time ago, Mataji. So actually,
It was during was it the summer? Because I think I remember a class where I had to leave right in the middle of the class to take.
It was a long time ago.
Class. Yeah.
So I don't even know how to give you the reference, but she had discussed this point where actually Lord Brahma is a post. It's not a
Right.
person. It's a post.
Right.
So
Right.
different personalities from time to time, they take on the role of Brahmaji. And it's not essential that every time Lord Brahma is a pure devotee of the Lord. He can be a non-devotee also.
A
But if he is
non-devotee.
but if he is a pure devotee of the Lord, then he has the potency to carry whoever is in Brahmaloka back to Godhead in that very lifetime. I mean, after annihilation, after the finishing of his lifetime. So that is the detail.
Okay.
But certainly it is a place which is way more advanced than the material worlds. But it's at least in this purport, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is insisting that Ramananda Rai speaks something further. He's saying that it's not pure devotional service. Please speak something further.
Mm-hmm. He keeps on progressing and adding, from lower ways of devotional service to higher.
Yeah. But definitely it does not mean that we cannot go the far extreme by saying, oh, they do not know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They may not know about pure devotional service, but it's not possible that they do not know at all that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At least that's the thing. And especially like in the verses that we read before, that Brahma that we read before, like, even from starting from 33, 34, all these Chaturshloki verses, certainly he was a great devotee of the Lord. Otherwise, why would the Lord himself come? Like Krishna himself comes to instruct Brahmaji. Because in the purport, in 33 and I remember reading, I don't know the exact words, but Prabhupada says in the purport that the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself came. That means Krishna himself came to instruct Brahma.
Right, and I know he had relations with him when it came to the cowherd boys and the cows, as well. So it didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense when it says there's no understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his transcendental loving service. That was the whole point of, like, I really don't understand what that sentence says with what I know, already. But I think you just put it in a better context for me. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Mataji. And one other thing that, like as the discussion was going on, that one other thing that suddenly struck me is we have to be careful in how we speak about these personalities, because they're highly elevated souls. Like especially Brahma is the founder of our Sampradaya, because we are coming from Brahma Sampradaya.
Right.
So once, actually there is a pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam where Brahma gets attracted to his own daughter. And there was one devotee who asked Prabhupada, he's the founder of our Sampradaya and he's attracted to his own daughters. Like, how is it possible? Something like that. Like, how can he be the founder? Then Prabhupada immediately checked him and he said, he's good enough. So when we are speaking about spiritual personalities, sometimes we come to understand like that there are certain, like, it's difficult to understand their personalities and other things in proper context, but we have to be careful in how we speak about them. So like to say something like, oh, Lord Brahmaji probably doesn't know that he's doing his service as a service to Krishna. Like, to say something like that is like, we are not in a position to say something like that. That's what, like...
Yeah, I don't know that I was saying that. I was saying that I didn't understand that sentence. Yes,
Mataji, you didn't say, but what I'm saying is, like, in general...
Be careful.
Yeah, in general, like, Prabhupada, like, checked when people spoke something like that about a great personality. He immediately checked them by saying he's good enough. So, and especially, like, in the context that we have been reading, that like he prays to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He qualifies himself by performing tapasya, and then he starts creation. So we read all this in that context. So it's a stretch to say that Brahma does not understand like his relationship with Krishna, or to say that he is performing creation without knowing that he is doing it as a service for the Lord. Like that's what I just wanted to mention. You didn't say it, but I'm saying like we just have to be like watchful.
Okay. It just, given the context, it just didn't make any sense, so I just had to bring that up.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Not that I believed it, or that it just didn't make sense to me, and that's why I was saying it. Okay, so thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
Mataji. I have one query, Mataji. It's Rushali. Hello?
Prabala Madhuri, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah. Mataji, as you said, there are many Brahmas. So, so all exist at the same time. This is what I think. I'm not clear about it again. So there are many universe. So and there are different Brahmas for all the universe. And as you cleared that, so all the Brahmas are not godly conscious. Only few Brahmas are there, those who are actually devotee of God, and they have potency to lead everyone towards Lord Krishna, right?
Dilamati Mataji.
Mataji, you tell.
I think she is asking in reference to your answer to Mataji.
Mataji, you can answer the question.
No, Mataji, you please go ahead, Mataji.
Mataji, if I understood your question correctly, like there are different Brahmas and not all of them are pure devotees of the Lord.
Like they all exist at the same universe, same time in the different universe, right?
Yes, Mataji. They all exist at the same time in different universes. And also after annihilation, a new Brahma is elected each time. Like the president is elected after his term is over. So the next Brahma is elected. Like he's either selected by Krishna or he qualifies.
And Mataji, Swargaloka, does that come in the spiritual world?
Swargaloka?
Yes.
No, Mataji, it is still part of the material world.
Like Brahmaloka?
Yeah, Brahmaloka is also part of the material world.
Okay, so all the yogis, those who are not the devotee of Lord, they actually go to Swargaloka and maybe the Brahmaloka.
It's difficult to like put them in like one category, Mataji.
Okay.
So actually there are 7 different planetary systems, upper planetary systems and 7 lower planetary systems. So and actually if we search for it, we will find it, because Prabhupada, he definitely explains about all these things. And in first canto also we read about it. There is something called as Tapaloka, there is Maharloka, Janaloka, Swargaloka. So there are 7 upper planetary systems. And depending on which planet the yogi wants to go, he can transfer himself by his like yogic strength to that planet.
Okay.
So it's not necessary that all of them go only to Swargaloka. They can go to different planets depending on where they want to go.
Okay. Like Mataji, there are different universes and different Brahmas and different Brahmalokas. Is there only one external abode of Krishna, or also that is also many, like different universes?
Yes, Mataji, it is much bigger than the material creation. The spiritual world is 3/4 of whole creation, and material world is only 1/4 of the whole creation. So in the spiritual world, there are many Vaikuntha planets.
Okay, and in different planets, Lord resides different in all the planets.
Yes, yes, yes. The moods are different in different planets. Like, for example, if you see the old cover of Srimad Bhagavatam, which Prabhupada had designed, there was an old cover of first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. There, Mahavishnu is lying down, and there are many universes. Vaikuntha planets are also there. And on each Vaikuntha planet, actually, in small letters, a name is written. Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Narasimha, Varaha. So all of these incarnations of the Lord have a particular planet on which they reside on. And their devotees reside with them.
Okay. So here on Earth planet, if someone is a devotee of Narasimha Bhagwan, he actually goes to Narasimha planet. And is it like that?
Yes, Mataji, whoever is our favorite deity.
Okay, he goes to that deity's planet.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
If we are in such high elevated consciousness, then we become transferred to that place.
Okay. Oh. Thank you, Mataji.
You're welcome, Mataji.
Thank you, Leela Manjari Mataji. Okay, maybe we'll stop here for now and then we'll continue from Monday onwards again. Thank you all devotees for joining. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna.